Hi, I'm Nancy. Welcome to Mindful Yoga. Today we're going to be doing a practice that emphasizes the knees, how to protect the knees as we do yoga in various ways. We'll also be appreciating ordinary things with a poem by Pat Schneider. So have a seat. You might be in a chair or you might be on the mat, on the floor. I'm sitting here on a blanket and I am looking down at my knees. They're high. In fact, they're higher than my hips. Hip mobility is very important to the knees. That hip mobility will come down through all the sides of the thighs and affect the knees. So here I'm putting too much load on my hips and on my lower back. The remedy is to make your hips higher. So if you have that problem, bring a block or a blanket or a pillow, just something underneath you to raise your hips up so the knees can be in touch with the floor and there's less load on the hips and the lower back. And now just softening the gaze, arriving here on the yoga mat, leaving behind whatever busyness has been in your day. Feeling the circular girdle of the waist expanding and contracting as ribs expand out on the sides and the back as the diaphragm massages down into the belly. Assuming a posture with the diaphragm above the pelvic floor, shoulders above hips, little tuck in the chin, high up through the crown. A posture that allows you to breathe fully. Letting go on the exhale as you sink down a bit through muscles and bones, and refreshing up on the inhale as you lift up through the spine. Pat Schneider writes, "It's a kind of love, is it not? How the cup holds the tea, how the chair stands sturdy and foursquare. I've been thinking about the patience of ordinary things, how clothes wait respectfully in closets, and towels drink the wet from the skin of the back. And the lovely repetition of stairs. And what is more generous than a window?" And as you open your eyes and look around, you might gaze on one very ordinary thing around you and offer it some appreciation. Bring the arms out, stretch out towards the walls on either side. Bring the hands down on the lap. Then inhale, bring the arms up in a wide V, and exhale, hands down onto lap. Inhale wide, exhale to lap. Inhale V, exhale to lap. One more time. Refreshing breath, letting go, exhale. Refreshing inhale, letting go, exhale. Now moving anything that brings your hips too high away as we stretch our legs out in front of us into Dandasana. Feel the length from the sits bones down through the legs. The knees are a little soft. There is room, a little space underneath the knees, so don't lock the knees down. Down through the ankles, flexing the ankles. As you flex the ankles, then point them and flex them once again. Bring your hands to the thighs just above the knees on the top of the thighs. And notice how as you flex, the muscles in the calves and in the thighs have some response. These muscles that come down the front of the thighs, the sides of the thighs, the backs of the thighs are very important to supporting the knee joint. The knee capsule is way in there in the middle, and there are muscles and connective tissue as well as tendons that run over all of this. There's a bone on the top and there's a bone on the bottom that's connected by ligaments. The muscles in the calf are also important. They're supporting the knee, and the stability of the ankle with the knee tracking right over the ankle is also an important part of guarding the knee and keeping it healthy. So hips, thighs, calves, ankles, arches, as we will find out, all are important to the health and protection of the knee. Now let's bring our legs into Sukhasana, spread out the hands, bring them up, interlace and push up. Hands come down on either side to the floor, come out into Dandasana, stretch forward through heels, up through skull, and then slide the feet back into Sukhasana, wide, push up, bring it down. One last time, stretch it out, extend up through crown, out through heels, crisscross legs, arms out, push up, and bring it down. Now bring the soles of the feet together in front of you. They can be a little far out. You might have them out 8 inches or 6 inches or whatever your knees require, or you might have them a little farther in. Wherever they are, press the soles of the feet into each other and feel the engagement of the calf muscles and the thigh muscles. So before you invite the knees to separate anymore, bring the feet together, engage the muscles, and then invite the knees to flatten down just slightly towards the mat. And if you'd like to bring the feet a little farther back, hands might be around ankles or feet or around the toes. Keep some uprightness in the spine. So don't round over in the spine, which is going to put more load on the lower back. So I'm going to bring my hands back to my mid feet so that I am able to keep that upright spine. Pushing my feet together, engaging the muscles up through legs and into the side of the hips, and then inviting my knees to come down toward the mat a bit. One more time, bring them up, soften, then press the feet together, engage muscles, and open the knees. And bring them back up. Let's come into a lying position now. We're going to first just lie down and take a nice long stretch. Pull the wrist up, press the heel down on one side. Is there a little more space to open in the body? And then the other side, pulling up on the wrist and pushing down through the heel. Nice breath there. Then bring the arms out to the side. Bring one knee up and just gently open and close that knee. This is something that you could do every day, just a gentle opening of the knee joint capsule. The synovial fluid, or the liquid that is inside the knee joint, is very gooey. It's important for lubricating the knee joint and also for making some proteins stand up in there that help the knee to absorb shock. Change feet and gently open on the other side. And bring it down. Extend the left leg out. Right leg reaches up. Give it some support. Point and flex, point and flex. Aware of the engagement of muscles as you do that. Especially on the flex, right? You've got some engagement of muscles here. Something that will aid in the protection of the knees. And then we're going to bring the foot side to side, just like my hand is going side to side. So we want to protect the patellar tendon and that very delicate knee capsule for the joint. Come to the other side. Flex, notice the engagement of the muscles. Point, flex, point, flex, point. And then we're going to turn side to side. So good mobility in the ankles is also an important part of keeping a healthy knee. Bring the feet so that they are just several inches or maybe 4 or 5 inches even below the buttocks. You don't need to bring your knees so tightly in. The arms will come along the sides and we'll tuck the shoulders in and tuck the elbows in towards the waist. Palms are facing down on the mat. Press into the heels, press into the arms and the hands. Raise the hips, engaging the glutes. Don't worry about raising the hips so high. Rather, a straight line from knees through hips and up to shoulders. And bring it down. Inhale up. No loading on the knees. Good support through the heels, engagement through the legs. The muscles are working here. And the shoulders and arms are taking some of the weight. And bring it down. One more time. Bring it up. And this time, if you would like to interlace the fingers underneath the hips for a little more support, you can press down better through the arms. Now we're going to do something we don't usually do, and that is to open the knees just a few inches and bring them back parallel to each other. So each knee goes out just a few inches on each side and then comes back parallel. Keep engaging through the glutes so that you're giving good support to the body in the bridge position. 2 more times. We are strengthening the inner thighs. So a lot of what we'll do today is doing exercises that strengthen the muscles on each side of our thighs to protect our knees. And then unwind, coming down vertebrae by vertebrae. And bring the legs up, bring them wide, giving them some support with the hands if you'd like. Crossing over, becoming wide, crossing over, wide. One last time. And bring them down. We're going to roll over now and come up into a tabletop position, but very quickly into a knee down lunge. Finding a knee down lunge with right knee and right foot and right knee in front and the left knee pretty much right under the hip. You can tuck your toes if you would like, or you can be on the front of your foot. If you're on your front of your foot, press down through the foot and through the shin. If you're on your toes, press down on those tucked toes, which keeps there from being so much load on abdominal muscles, the inner abdominal muscles. You can always have a blanket under that knee as well. Bring your hands to the thigh, the front thigh, and slide forward, not your full range of motion, just coming moderately forward and moderately back. Feel the pelvic floor reaching down to the floor as you lengthen the spine. As you come forward, feel the pelvis floor lengthening back to the root of the toe. And as you go and you experiment, you may go a little farther forward and a little farther back. Feel extension from the lower back into the neck. And we can always relax the shoulders, right? So as we go forward, we keep length in the front body. And as we come back, we keep length in the back body. 2 more times on this side. Opening up through the front of the hip. And with this lengthening that we're doing, opening up throughout the whole body. Bring the right knee down and the left knee is in front of you, tracking right over the ankle. So this tracking of the knee right over the ankle is important to protecting the knee. And also as we look down at the foot, feel the grounding down around the periphery of the foot in front of you. And a little bit of lift through the arch. We'll talk about that more in a minute. Tuck your toe or keep the top of your foot down, pressing down. And beginning to come forward, a moderate range of motion at first. Again, allowing the pelvic floor to reach down to the floor. Lengthening up through the spine. As you come forward, lengthening the pelvic floor to the root of the toe. Especially if your top of your foot is down, you'll feel that. Coming perhaps with a larger range of motion now, slowing it up, really feeling from the inside out what this feels like. Letting the breath come with the movement. Strengthening the legs and keeping the knee right over the ankle. Then bring that knee back. We'll come into tabletop. Let the tailbone rise and curl just slightly as the back arches up. Opening the front of the spine and opening the back of the spine. 1 more time in each direction. Keeping long through the spine. Be sure to put something under your knees if you would like a little more comfort there. We'll be here for a few more minutes. Lift the left knee up in a fire hydrant and bring it down. Now I noticed when I did that my hips changed their place. Let's do it this time, not bringing it up so high, and keep the hips still. 1 more time, keep the hips still as the hip joint allows that knee to come out to the side. We're now going to bring that foot back, let it be toe down for a moment, and then raise it up, not as far as you can, but rather to the place midway between where you could go and the floor, so that the hips remain still and firm, horizontal. Hold it there, and then bring the knee in, slide it in, keeping your focus on the hips, no movement or lifting of the shoulders or chest here. So we're just engaging the muscles of the side hips and the leg. An eccentric stretch that contracts the muscles as they are extended out. 1 more time, and then we'll hold it. Five, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Cross that leg over to the other side of the back foot. Turn on the pinky side. Lift 1 inch or 2, engaging the muscles through the side of the hip. And hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Make sure your hands are right under your shoulders for good support. Can always come down onto your forearms if your wrists are getting too much here, which can happen. Fire hydrant, bring your right knee up. Again, I brought it up higher than I would if I want to keep my hips level. So putting all of the strength into the leg, keep the hips level, and just raise it about halfway that you could. And one more time. Then extend that leg back onto the floor behind you. Lift just 5 inches or so. Focus on the hips as the knee slides in and slides back out. Hips are very still and steady. Concentrating on the extended contraction of the leg muscles. Chest and shoulders are also still here. And holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring the leg across onto the pinky side of the foot. Raise just an inch or two, perhaps feeling from the inside out those muscles on the side of the hip engaging, as well as some leg muscles. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's come down onto a prone position, onto our stomachs. Bring the forearms underneath the shoulders into a sphinx for a few moments here, wiggling through the hips, making yourself comfortable. Then bring the forehead down onto the right hand. Left hand comes back onto the glute. Engage the glute as that left leg lifts up just an inch or two. Feel the engagement of the glutes. Glutes also being part of the muscular engagement that is going to protect the knees. If you're not sure whether you're getting a glute engagement or maybe you're using your hamstrings too much, then bend the knee and lift slightly. And this makes it sure that you are using your glutes. One more time. And then other side. We're just awakening the glutes. Let's lift that leg a little bit. See if you feel the hardness in the glute. So we're just waking the glutes up, letting them know we expect them to be on board. And if you need to bend that knee, experiment with how it feels. 2 more times. Then bring the legs down. Tuck the knees together and the feet together, so legs are together, head and shoulders rise up slightly, arms come wide, thumbs up, engage through the glutes. You're on, glutes, as we lift up, and it doesn't matter how far you get, maybe just a little ways, and that's fine. And bring everything in. Then we bring hands behind the waist, legs are long. Inhale. As you exhale, hands come down below the waist, kind of pulling down, the knees bend, and we exhale, ha, ha, ha. Inhale, hands to back of waist, long in the legs. Exhale, ha, ha, ha. Inhale, hands up to waist. Exhale, hands down, ha, ha, ha. Ha. Ha, 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 ha. 2 more times, engaging the hamstrings and strengthening them in their work of protecting the knees. And bring it down. Push up underneath the shoulders, and we'll come up to a standing position. Bring yourself into this basic yoga pose of mountain. Feet are hip width apart, and you can measure this by bringing hands just inside those hip bones in the front of your body, and fingers should point down at the second toes. Hands along the side now. Weight from the hip joints down through the knees, coming into the heels, the center to the outside of the heels, and across to the big toe mound and second and third toe mounds perhaps as well. The big toe does not lift. We're mainly using the mounds of the toes, but there's a little weight in the toes as well. This should allow you, in fact, even cause some lift in the arches. Excuse me, I'm going to put on a light here. So in mountain pose, our arches are bright. The muscles of the legs are slightly engaged, not greatly. We don't overdo the arches, just a slight lift in the arches. Energy coming up through the body. Push the knees back as if you were locking them, and then push them, just give a micro bend. So just back and forth a little bit so you know the feeling of locking your knees, the back of your knees pushing back, and then a little micro bend in the knees. And our aim is to find the middle place here. So this is where we want to be, not locking, not a little bend, but just firm knees that are straight but not locked. The weight coming down onto the thigh bone, the femur, and on down through the knee into the fibula, the bone of the shin area, down into the heel bone. Firm, strong, muscles engaged. And now you might bring attention to your hips, bringing them a little forward, bringing them a little back. So the top of the pelvis goes back and forth as well when you do this, finding again a middle place. So our hips are right in the middle, the weight coming down onto the bones. The knees are right in the middle, the weight coming down onto the ankles. Now we're going to come down into chair. So first of all, just let your hands be beside you and bring your hips back, sitting down on a high stool. Important here to not let the weight hang on the knees, but rather have the hips back far enough that the muscles of the legs are taking the weight. So these kind of squats that we do in chair are really important because as we age, we want to be able to get up and down off of our chair. In fact, being able to do that is one of the strong indications of longevity. So just sitting back onto your stool or onto your chair, not trying to go back too far. We're really worried more about endurance here and position than we are about trying to come down onto too low of a chair. You're hinging at your hips. So find where you might be and also try shallow. Come up, try a little deeper. Come up and then try a range. What about right in the middle? So doing this several times a day is not a bad idea. Arches are bright and muscles are engaged. Now find your best place. Bring your arms out in front of you, palms facing each other. Hips are back. You're sitting on your stool for 3, 2, and 1. And bring the hands around. We're going to do some balance now. Again, not giving ourselves the biggest challenge in balance, but rather using this as a way to strengthen through the leg muscles and to strengthen in the muscles of the sides of the hips. Bring the weight into the right foot. I'm mirroring you, so bring the weight into the right foot and come up on the toe of the left foot. Feel the weight coming from the center to outside of the heel and across to the mound of the first and second toe. Arches are slightly lifted. We'll just call them bright. Notice the engagement up through the leg muscles. Let the muscles on the side of the hips out flare a moment. So these ligaments have elasticity in them. They can flare out a little bit and come back. Get the feeling of drawing in those muscles on the side of the hip. So you're very firm. A firm knee that's straight but not locked. Feeling that the thigh bone is right coming down on top with, of course, the knee in between of the shin bone. So our aim here is to be steady. Stay on your toe. If that's where you need to stay, that's fine. You're still strengthening your foundation leg. You might lift up and bring the toe down, just lifting up a little ways. And if you have a wall or a chair that you'd like to hang on to, that's fine here. Better than wobbling in this particular situation where we're trying to engage and strengthen muscles. Continue lifting up through the body. And if you feel it's wise for your body and you can continue that engagement without wobbling too much, bring your knee up and hold for 3, 2, and 1, and bring that other foot down. Bring your feet wide, and let's just skate back and forth a little bit. I imagine you can feel some difference between your hips and legs. Let's take a few breaths. We're putting forth some effort here. Come back into mountain, and let's just take 2 breaths. Inhaling, expanding through lower and side ribs, extending up through the spine, refreshing the body. And exhaling, shoulders relax, lower tips of shoulder blades and the front ribs sinking down. Inhale, refresh. Exhale, let go down through muscles and bones. Now we'll come to the left foot as the foundation leg. Feel the foot grounded down. Feel the weight of the hip coming down into the center to outside of the hip bone and across to the mound of the big toe and second toe. Outflare the hip a little bit and bring it in. Let it outflare. Bring it in. Get the sense of that drawing in. One last time. Keep drawing in through those side hip muscles. No locking of the knee, so check that right now. Firm but not locking. As the lifted arch brightens, then you can feel some engagement through the calf muscles, up through all sides of the thighs. Stay on your toe if that's the best for you. So we're engaging muscles to strengthen now, not so much challenging the hardest thing you can do in a balancing pose. So if you need a chair, you need the wall, feel free to use that. Props are good, especially when we're gradually strengthening, which usually most of us are doing, right? You might lift and lower that knee. And if you feel that it's wise, bring the knee up in a bend. Feel the strength, the engagement of the muscles. For 3, 2, and 1, and bring it down. Bring the feet wide. Bring the hands to the hips. Torso comes parallel. Hands come down. You might have a block under your hands or come onto your fingers. Bring the feet out to a width that is comfortable. Toes are slightly pigeon-toed. Lift up through the hips and dangle down. Let go through the lower spine, the middle spine, and the upper spine. Walk hands across to one ankle. Lift up that arm. Nice spiral through the middle torso and up into the neck. Come across and open up on the other side. Bring that hand down. Hands come up to the waist or hips. Torso comes parallel, protecting the lower back as you come up with a strong belly. And then toe heel the feet in. Come into a high lunge. And really we're trying to get the feeling of tracking the knee, engaging in the muscles of the legs, the sides of the hips. Hips are aligned and the thighs are drawing in towards the hips. So things are really engaged here. Knees are safe. Feet are firmly planted. Inhale as arms reach up. Palms come together and down to the heart. One more time. Welcoming in the energies all around us and bringing them into the heart. Hands come to waist. Change the feet. High lunge on the other side. Hips horizontal, aligned. Bring the feet more shallow, if need be, using your yogi judgment as to exactly what your body can do on this particular day. Knee right over ankle, arches bright, muscles engaged, thighs coming in towards the hips. Inhale up. And this time, bring the palms straight down the body. So my palms are down, fingers not touching. Letting the energies of the life force come through your body. And one more time, gathering in life force, prana, chi, many names for it, welcoming it into the eyes and the ears, the throat, the heart, and letting the hands rest for a moment on the abdomen. Bring the feet together. And we'll take a short time to breathe here before we end. Bringing your hips to where they need to be as you sit. So knees can be down on the floor or sit in a chair. Soft gaze. Appreciating our bodies, ordinary things that allow us to do yoga, move, walk, run, cook, May we protect them, appreciating all that they allow us to do. Namaste. Thanks for being with me today. See you the next time.